What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're taking a look at Immortals Fenyx Rising here on Steam. Ubisoft's been bringing more titles back over to Steam, which is awesome to see. So I wanted to try this out on SteamOS here on the Steam Deck with the Steam version and see what performance was like for this game. So let's take a look at settings that we're going to start with here. Full screen, 1610, 800p, 60Hz VSync on. We'll leave these pretty much alone, and in graphics settings I'm going to start with the medium preset with depth of field and motion blur turned off, but we're going to take a look at some other settings as well. But jumping in here with these settings up at the peak here, we'll use this area a little bit to kind of gauge performance. We're at 47 FPS just kind of sitting still, and this is absolutely going to vary depending on where you're at in this game, of course, and we'll take a little bit of a look at that. But as we move around here, it stays pretty good. Now I do notice that with medium, or if I try to go higher, we do get a little bit more stutter or hitch up here or there, more on the CPU side, because the game is kind of pushing the deck CPU a little bit. So the higher we go with some of those settings will make that worse. So I'm not really going to test above the medium preset in this video. It's kind of going to be medium or under for me when it comes to this game on deck. But other than that, with these settings, just starting off, I was actually pretty impressed that the game's running really well with this. Once you get down to where you're going to be fighting and doing things on the ground, it looks good. We have all of our foliage and everything in here and our effects, and it's able to hold pretty well. You're still going to go under 40 FPS with these settings. You're not going to cap 40 with just a straight up medium preset. There's areas of the game like this or other areas that get worse. You might come down about 32, 33 FPS this way. So this might be more of a candidate for like a 30 FPS cap. But I want to switch the settings over to the low preset, and you'll see we gain about 5 or 6 FPS off the bat just when we load in to the peak here. It's going to do the same kind of dip as we go out here and get ready to jump off the ledge, just like it did with medium, but it's not quite so bad, and I don't get some of the little stutters and hitches that I get with just the straight up medium. The game doesn't look quite as good, but it does hold on to a lot of the features we'll take a look at when we get down to the ground. But you're going to notice a higher FPS even just while flying around here on low. Now when we get down onto the ground, we still have all of our foliage and stuff. It looks pretty nice. It may not be quite as good as medium, but at least it's there and the world still feels pretty decent. But when we switch over to very low, which is what I want to do next, just to show you, for those of you that might be trying to get 60 FPS without rendering down lower resolution, you can't really get that anyway. So if you go down to the very low preset, you'll get closer to 60 while you're up here. But again, when you jump out, get into the world, start flying around, using your mounts, battling, all that kind of stuff, you're still going to notice some dips. You will stay higher, of course, than medium or low, but you can already tell like shadows and lack of foliage effects and other things just really do affect the experience. I'm not a big fan of how Immortals looks on very low, and I just don't think it's really necessary here on deck. When you look at the frame rate differences that you're really getting into, it's not that much of a gain. Yeah, you can get closer to 60 FPS here versus what, 40-ish on medium, but look at the it just doesn't look good to me. You look more like you're floating. There's no grass, no foliage, almost no effects on your attacks. And for me, it's just not really worth it to try to push the higher FPS, but you can certainly do it if you want. But I think the game looks really bland and isn't really worth it. So what I want to do now is just get into the settings that I'm just kind of using myself. And that's going to be going back to the medium preset. And then I'm going to go and change anti-aliasing down to low. It just helps a little bit. And then I'm going to go down and turn off the screen space reflections and the ambient occlusion. We're going to leave depth of field and motion blur turned off as well. So when I do this and I lock the deck to 40 with that great feature that the deck has of the 40 Hz, I actually get a really nice frame time. We don't quite use the resources all the way. We save a little bit there, and it gives us some headroom to where, for the most part, it seems like I can hold this 40 FPS almost anywhere that I go. You'll notice a little dip to 38 or 39 and back up from time to time, especially areas where you're landing or loading in an area. But I've played for a little while like this and went to a few areas of the game, and it looks good. We still maintain all of our effects, our foliage, all that kind of stuff, but it maintains just enough to where I can pretty much hold that 40 comfortably. So for me, these settings are working out really well when it comes to trying to use just a 40 FPS here with Immortals on the deck. But I'd like to hear what kind of settings you guys are using in the comments down below. What's working for you? 30 FPS, 40? Are you using just unlocked? And what kind of settings you're enjoying? But anyways, guys, thanks a lot for coming and check out the video. I hope it gives you an idea of how Immortals is running on the Steam Deck. And as always, I appreciate you coming to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next one.